right now they're just going through those ups and downs. And collectively, I know that they'll be better, but right now they're trying to find their way.
This look right here, ladies and gentlemen. This look right here. If anybody in life ever looked at you like this, makes no sense going forward. Many believe this look is Terrence Mann salty about his minutes about to be cut, having a future Hall of Famer added to the team, but it means a lot more. I'll let you know deeper in the video exactly what this look means, but let's get straight to it. The Clippers are in trouble. Already in the season, and those words are clear as day to everyone who's seen this movie before. Once again, the James Harden trade looks to be a loss for another team. I know you've seen all the videos done on this topic in the last few days, and rightfully so, because the hype was so real when it happened. Once again, another team jumps at the chance to add the legacy of James Harden to their team, not the actual James Harden playing in the games in the last few years, who has now been subtraction by addition for the last 3 teams he's been on. At 34 years old, James Harden must have found some spellcasting book between his stops in Brooklyn and Philadelphia that convinced the Clippers not just to add a guy that's been on the decline since the 1920 season, but to pair him and Westbrook together again after it didn't work twice before. Not only did it not work in Houston, but only needed 57 games before the franchise saw what the Clippers are now. James Harden doesn't have what it takes anymore to fit into the role it requires for him to win a championship at this point. In his introductory press conference, he said, and I quote, "I'm not a system player, I am the system." This is literally all you need to know when you tell your kids why James Harden never won an NBA championship. At this stage in his career, he finally says what the world can see. Without the ball in his hands to completely dominate, dribbling 55 times, traveling, then launching a wild 3, or throwing his body into his 27th free throw, he's not much good to a team with serious aspirations. The Nets, Sixers, and now Clippers all share the inability to see that. At this stage, James Harden is letting us know that any team he's on won't win at all because he's unable to buy into what he'll be for the rest of his career. A system player. James Harden's all-star days are over. His spectacular seasons are finished. What he needs to be is a solid system-fitting guy that can catch and shoot, also create for other star players and feed off their creation, and for the first time play solid defense. Even he knows he can't do it, making the trade for him a loss for the Clippers. It's still early in the season, so it might even get better, but for these reasons, it won't amount to the ultimate goal, which is winning it all, a championship. Why not? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. When the Sixers hired Daryl Morey as their president of basketball operations in 2020, his first order of business was to get James Harden. When Ben Simmons requested a trade from Philly, Morey got that chance and made it happen, bringing in Harden to pair with their future MVP Joel Embiid. It seemed perfect to pair arguably the best shooting guard in the league at the time with the best center, but that trade was a disaster, with the Sixers having only 2 second-round losses to show for it, and James Harden calling Daryl Morey names in public.
Daryl Morey is a liar.
He'd request a trade to another team, but all isn't going well so far, on his way to proving he was never a good fit for Los Angeles, and here's why. Reason number 1, I'm not a system player, I'm a system player. Let me run my system, player.
I'm not a system player, I am a system. You know what I mean? So,
I think Jay-Z had a line similar to this back in his prime. Thing is, James Harden is not still in his, but thinks he still is, and teams should still bend to fit the only way he knows how to play. When he finds out that's not what teams are willing to do anymore, he forgets how to play basketball altogether. And this is exactly why Terrence Mann looked at him this way the first time he walked into the locker room. But not just Terrence Mann and his reaction, the entire room, even the managers, could feel the energy wasn't what the cameras thought they'd see. Only Russell Westbrook sorta greeted Harden, and it was more happy to see his friend from the same stomping grounds growing up, not because he just got a guy who could seriously make his team better when added. It felt like a locker room of mixed feelings. Paul George, of course, said all the right things about the trade, and Kawhi's somewhere load managing this question, but after their 0-4 start beginning this season, there has to be serious thought in the locker room of, hey, first, I told you so, and then, playing with James Harden might just be as bad as they said it was. Well, ask KD, Kyrie, Joel Embiid, Westbrook twice, Chris Paul, and Dwight Howard. 3 former league MVPs, all All-Stars and future Hall of Famers, and yet James Harden hasn't been to the finals since his 3rd year in the league, much less been close to winning a championship. As history has shown, James Harden is only James Harden when he's the focus of the team and everyone else are specific need guys like Clint Capella or PJ Tucker. When he's with other great players, he hasn't found that balance of when to dim his light for those guys versus when to get his shine on. Hence why so far, he's averaging lows across the board he hasn't since his 2nd year. Once he developed into the superstar he was in Houston, he forgot how to be effective as a spot-up shooter, slasher, and high-energy scorer, putting pressure on the defense like his OKC days. He really believes in his system and doesn't understand how to play in one, like he said. Reason number 2, subtraction by addition. Another reason this trade hasn't worked so far and looks to be a loss for the Clippers is because they didn't need James Harden to get where they were going to anyway, which is somewhere eliminated in the 1st or 2nd round. They may have had better chemistry before the trade than they obviously don't now, because at least with Kawhi, PG, and Westbrook, everyone knew those were the guys and everyone else could fit around them. They gave up Marcus Morris Sr., Nicholas Batum, and their young, high-flying energy guy KJ Martin, who all provide selfless and specific value to the team. Harden gives them 4 All-Stars to make happy, and with him only knowing how to be effective in one way, one may think they lost more than they gained. They gave up 4 tough defenders in that trade, getting back a guy that lacks effort on that end, with a history of just giving up on D altogether. Of course, he's been added to the starting lineup along with PG, Kawhi, Westbrook, and Zubac, pushing PG and Leonard out of their position and having to defend bigger players, making them a lot smaller team who hasn't been able to take advantage of that on offense because James Harden is no longer a threat. He's shooting 4.8 threes a game, his 3rd lowest of his career, averaging 13 points and 4 assists, down from almost 11 last season. If James Harden isn't able to find himself among this big 4, the Clippers may have made their team worse by adding a better player. Reason number 3, Harden's history. Lastly, the Clippers added a huge problem on their hands, bringing on one of the worst superstars historically at showing up in the clutch. Playing for the NBA's only Big 4 in the league, and a team primed to win since winning the Kawhi Leonard sweepstakes, the lights every game are going to be bright. No brighter than for James Harden, who demanded a max extension from Daryl Morey, but has yet to show the Sixers why they made a mistake not giving it to him. They also added a guy that by default is a black hole on teams because he only knows how to play one way and still believes it can win. When it's not the James Harden show or the refs helping him to the line with over 10 free throw attempts a game, he destroys the flow of an offense. Harden's history of not being the same James Harden when with other superstars is well documented. He has some of the worst field goal percentages in the 4th quarter than anyone in the league, and when he's playing with other all-stars that put him in position to be without the ball in crunch time or knock down spot-up shots created for him, he overthinks it and passes up wide-open shots or shoots air balls at the rim or gives up costly turnovers. We've seen it with the Nets, Sixers, and now 4 games in with the Clippers. All in all, James Harden is looking worse than ever, which is shocking because you would think he'd be ready to show up and show why he's worth the hoopla all summer after Morey wouldn't pay him. I personally think Harden's mentality could also be a growth stunt on any team because he doesn't have a style or energy of a winner. He's not a leader, but even worse when you don't let him, which is never going to happen on the Clippers or going forward in his career. The Clippers lost this trade, and it's not too soon to see that. Obviously a long season, so we'll see what happens from here. Salute, much respect. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.
Because, James, you're not the beard, you're not the system, you're the problem.